Hi guys, it's Steph from IDRIVEACLASSIC, and today I'm back wishing you a very happy Easter, and I'm reviewing the Austin Mark 1 Mini Metro. Today's subject is actually my daily car, so I'm really hoping that I can do justice to her and show you exactly why she's so special. Now, I'm going to start the video with a bit of a tour around the car, show the outside, show you some of the quirks, before bringing you inside to show you the interior. Jill's a little bit different to other Mark 1s, so I'm excited to show you why. And then I'm going to start off from cold, because I know you guys have been asking to hear that, before a short drive round, letting you hear how the engine sounds, and also telling you why I bought Jill and a little bit about Metros too. So buckle up, because we're about to go for a drive in the British car to beat the world.
Although it's horrendously untidy under here, let me show you what's under the bonnet. So everything is pretty much as standard that you would have got on your 998. The only thing that you'll notice is different is that engine, which is a 1275. Now the reason that Jill's running a 1275 is because her original engine got stolen from Mini. She was going to be one of those donor cars that ended up on the scrap heap. But now she's back on the road, and I'm going to show you around the rest of the car and the interior. First things first, look at those recessed headlights. That is the immediate mark of a base spec model. On the higher ones, they didn't do that. And that petrol cap, look where it is. It's so difficult to put petrol in. And also, if you park on a hill a certain way, it splashes out. A design flaw they didn't realise until later on. One of the things I like about Jill, especially for the fact that I have no history, is it's silly really, but I really love the fact she's still got the original dealership sticker. So there it is. Henleys, they sold a lot of British Leyland stuff, and also I've got the original number plates as well. And I'll come back up, spot the blanking plug. Rear wipers are an optional extra. Guess who didn't get a rear wiper? Me. So I'm going to bring you around the side so you can just see. Really small, unassuming little car, but ever so much fun to drive. You've got your side indicators there. Not all of them had those, so I suspect that was put in at a later date. And as we come around the front, you'll see the grille, which is something I added and not standard. Now let's pop inside. Now let's step inside, where the condition is far superior. So first of all, let's hone in on that dash. On the dash, you'll notice the circle to the left, and that is fuel and temperature. On a higher spec car, that is a clock, and the blanking plate is where your temperature and fuel is. There's your horn, and there's your wipers. And you've got your heated rear screen and hazards. Heated rear screen is a godsend, by the way, in winter, and that would have been an optional extra. Then you've got your fag tray, perfect for loose change, and you've got your heating and what I like to call aircon, your fag lighter, and your radio, which I put in later on. That radio is the right era, but it definitely wouldn't have been in this car because it's base spec. There also should be a glove box, but there isn't. And same with these door cards, they're off a HLE. So I'm not really sure what happened, but the interior for this car isn't right. So it's the right colour, but it's not the right spec. So I only assume someone's changed that later on. So let me flip the seat forward and show you the back. Can you see that split seat? That's so you can kind of flip the seat forward, get bigger things in, which is quite handy. There's some seat belt holes there, so I could put some seat belts in, but I haven't. And I've also got a parcel shelf as well, which ludicrously was an optional extra. So why don't we go for a drive so you can see what the Metro's really like. Some of you have asked what it sounds like when a Metro starts. So, as you wish, I'll start the car and you can hear exactly how she sounds when I start her in the morning. So the two dash lights that should be on are your parking brake and the seatbelt warning light. In the same way that people say when you get a haircut that nobody really likes, whenever people see Jill, they always go, "Ooh, that's different," which really actually winds me up. It's quite easy to wind me up actually. And they always say, "Oh, why did you pick a beige Metro? All those cars out there, and you picked a beige Metro." Now, for those of you who don't know me, I'm a terrible parker and I'm not very good with change. So I'd always driven Morris Minors, and before that I'd driven a Rover Metro. And I wanted something that was on the lines of a Morris Minor in terms of the A-series engine, and I also wanted something that was easy to park. So I
toyed with a few different ideas. I looked at Marinas, I looked at Allegros, I looked at Maxis, and I just kept coming back to the Metro over and over again. I went to see a couple. I went to see one in London, which looked like a skip on wheels. I went to see one in Manchester that looked like it was built out of polyfiller. I went to see all sorts really, and each one was more disappointing than the last. So I hung on and I waited, and I took my friend Ryan's Mark 1 out for a drive, and I really enjoyed it. And I said, oh, I really want one. And he replied, well, good luck, 'cause there aren't many left. So I hung about and I waited and bided my time. Had a failed romance with the Mark II Golf as I had a midlife crisis. And then my friend Ed listed a black Mark II Metro for sale. So I hung about and I thought about it, ummed and ahed it, said, oh, is that the right one? And I messaged him and he said, I've sold it. However, I have got something else. And that's when he sent me a picture of Jill.
Before I tell you about the Austin Metro, I'm just going to apologise for the bumping and banging. Not only are the roads absolutely terrible around here, I've also snapped my exhaust rubber. So, in the interest of just telling you about the Metro, block that noise out and listen in. With a wealth of smaller cars and super minis being produced, British Leyland wanted to up their game and offer more than just the humble Mini. The Mini been in production since 1959, and they've been kind of toying with different ideas through the 70s, but had been held back by various funding and internal politics. But in 1980, at the British Motor Show, the Austin Mini Metro was announced. And for those of you that don't know, the Austin Mini Metro is known as such because the Metro was already in use for the train line, so they needed to come up with a new name. So instead of going for something completely different, they just shoved Mini in front of it, and it didn't hurt either to have some connotations with an already popular smaller car. So the car was intended to replace the Mini and offer the customer something exciting and new, a competitor to the foreign market with their smaller runarounds and town cars. However, as we know today, the Mini won the battle and was produced until 2000, whereas the Austin Metro was rebadged several times and was sold under names such as Austin Metro, Rover Metro, Metro just as a standalone name. And also, you may not know this, but there were some quirky little vans badged as Morris Metros, which incidentally were one of the last cars to carry the Morris mark. All of this jazzy rebranding was noticed, and Alan Partridge famously declared the Rover Metro was simply a rebadged Mini Metro, and firmly told his long-suffering assistant Lynn that he was not driving a Mini Metro. However, I think Alan missed a trick, because the Metro, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated British classics from the 80s and 90s. Not only did the car win Car of the Year twice, once as an MG in 1983 and later as a Rover in 1990, the car was also a hit with royalty, and Princess Diana's Metro now lives at Gaydon in the museum. And to be quite honest, if a Metro is good enough for a princess, it's good enough for anyone. The Metro launched in October, as I've mentioned, and it had been subject to design, redesign and tweaking, and was a real kind of rush effort to catch up with the likes of European and American manufacturers who'd successfully launched cars such as the Fiesta, the Polo, the Renault 5, the cool little hatchbacks essentially. Although the Metro was designed to push the Mini into the cold, it borrowed a lot of the genius behind the Mini, such as the famous A-series engines available in 998 and 1275cc, much of the front-wheel drivetrain, the 4-speed manual gearbox, and the suspension subframe. Not only that, the Allegro's design was borrowed from, and the hydrogas suspension was added to the car, which at the time gave a ride to the car which made the driver feel as though they were floating. A huge step up from some of the clattery and bumpy cars of the 70s. I've watched a lot of Metro videos online and the adverts of the time as well. And one of the things that they always mention is that the car was built by robots, which really was to hammer home to a public cautious of British Leyland ad hoc builds and quality, that the new Austin Mini Metro was a car which was perfection each and every time. Nowadays, it's a given that cars are built by highly skilled computers and machines, but back in 1980, it was as though science fiction had become science fact in a quiet and unassuming area of Birmingham. The car was launched with massive hype, and on the quiet, British Leyland were convinced this was the car that would turn everything around. And to some extent, it actually did, because the Metro became the best-selling car until it was rudely overtaken by the Ford Fiesta in 1984. The best-selling year in 1983 saw more than 130,000 Metros sold in Great Britain alone, and more were sold overseas too. In 1981, they stretched the boat and they said, right, we're introducing the Vanden Plas and the MG, which went on sale in 1982. And for those looking for something a bit speedier or more luxurious, those were just the ticket. With later facelifts in 1984 and 1990, the Metro was a firm fixture on roads across Britain. However, the car gained a reputation for rotting and being in incredibly poor condition after only a few years. But actually, if you look at other cars of the era, the rot issues were just another way for people to criticise British Leyland. A Top Gear report at the time basically showed all these absolutely awful cars that were only a few years old, and it just was such a damning come down for a real potentially iconic car. As the 90s progressed, the car became known as the go-to for pensioners, students, and the mum looking for a car she could take to the supermarket for a weekly shop. Hardly the super cool image of some of the other hot hatchbacks of the time. As if the image of it being a granny mobile, a rock box and easy to steal wasn't enough, the Metro came out of a crash test looking as stable as a brown paper bag, the final nail in the coffin of a car which was once so promising. Now, I could end the story here and tell you the Metros are terrible, rotten, and all the things that you hear on car forums. But here's the thing, they're actually making a comeback. And over the last few years, I've watched as the humble Metro has changed from a first car banger to emerging classic, with a cult following which is growing year on year. The car has a thriving owners club, the Metro presence at car shows seems to be growing, and best of all, the prices are going up. Now, you might be sat there saying, well, why is a price increase a good thing? Well, let me tell you, high prices mean preservation, and for the Metro there couldn't be better news than that. So keep your eyes peeled at your next car show, because Grandma's car is coming back, and this time it's cooler than ever.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning into my video today. I really hope you've enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed making it, and I can't wait to see you next Sunday for my next video. Let me know what you've thought of the Austin Mini Metro in the comments box below. Hit like if you've enjoyed the video, and especially if you've enjoyed the car. And if you're a classic car fanatic like me, hit subscribe and make sure you're the first to know about my next video. New videos go up every Sunday, so I hope to see you then. In the meantime, take care and drive safely.